poor girl was sent to replace her sister on a blind date. The single dad CEO didn't let her leave. Before continue the story, please subscribe to channel American Stories of Kindness. Amelia Hart was used to being invisible. She was a quiet shadow in her own home, the one who cooked, cleaned, and held everything together while her glamorous older sister Clara enjoyed the spotlight. Clara was beautiful, ambitious, and always chasing wealthy men who could give her the life she believed she deserved. Amelia, on the other hand, worked part-time at a bookstore, cared for their ailing mother, and lived in second-hand clothes without complaint. But one Friday evening, her life shifted in a way she never expected. Clara stormed into their tiny apartment, her phone pressed against her ear, frustration written across her perfectly made-up face. "I can't believe this," she hissed, tossing her heels aside. He's already at the restaurant. "A CEO, Amelia. Do you understand what that means? And I'm stuck here because I double-booked myself." Amelia glanced up from the sink, soap clinging to her hands. "Then cancel." "Cancel?" Clara spun, incredulous. "You don't just cancel on a man like Ethan Cole. He's one of the most powerful CEOs in the city. If I impress him, that could mean everything. But I've already promised Gregory I'd meet him tonight, too." Amelia frowned. "So what are you going to do?" Clara's eyes narrowed, then slowly lit with an idea that made Amelia uneasy. "You're going to go." "Me?" Amelia nearly dropped the plate in her hand. "Clara, that's insane. He's expecting you, not me. He'll know immediately." "Oh, please," Clara interrupted with a wave of her hand. "You look enough like me if you actually try. Just wear one of my dresses, do your hair, and keep your mouth shut. Men like him don't care about details. They care about looks. All you have to do is sit there and keep him busy until I can decide if he's worth my time." Amelia shook her head. "That's dishonest." "It's survival," Clara snapped. "Or are you too busy shelving books for minimum wage to understand what's at stake here?" Amelia's chest tightened. She hated being guilt-tripped, but she also hated confrontation. And when Clara fixed her with that piercing stare, Amelia felt her defenses crumble. Within the hour, Clara had stuffed her into a sleek black dress and shoved her into a cab, warning her not to ruin everything. Amelia stepped nervously into the upscale restaurant, her heart pounding. She told herself she'd just sit, make polite conversation, and leave quickly. No harm done. But then she saw him. Ethan Cole sat at the corner table, tall and broad-shouldered, his dark suit perfectly tailored. He exuded power, the kind that filled a room even when he didn't move. Yet when his eyes lifted and met hers, something softer flickered there, curiosity. "Clara?" he asked, rising slightly from his seat. Amelia swallowed hard and nodded, guilt gnawing at her. She sat across from him, her hands trembling under the table. The evening should have been unbearable, but to her surprise, Ethan wasn't the arrogant executive she'd imagined. He asked about her interests, listened attentively, even laughed at her awkward jokes when her nerves slipped out. For the first time in years, Amelia felt seen, not as Clara's shadow, not as the overlooked daughter, but as herself, though she wasn't brave enough to admit the truth. When dessert arrived, Ethan glanced at his watch. "I hope you don't mind, but I'll need to cut this short. My son's waiting at home." Amelia blinked. "Your son?" A faint smile touched his lips. "Liam. He's 6. Smart, curious, stubborn. Takes after me. I don't usually bring people into his life, but tonight you're different." Her breath caught. Different? No one had ever used that word for her before. By the time Ethan walked her outside and offered to drive her home, Amelia's heart was a storm. She declined, terrified Clara would somehow find out. But as she slipped into the cab alone, she couldn't shake the warmth of his gaze. The next day, fate, or maybe something stronger, intervened. Amelia was shelving books at the shop when a familiar little boy tugged at her sleeve. "Hi," he said shyly. "You're the lady from dinner, right?" She turned, startled. The boy had dark hair, bright blue eyes, and a mischievous smile. Behind him stood Ethan, watching carefully. "Liam," Ethan said gently, "remember what we talked about, manners." Liam giggled and extended his hand to Amelia. "You're pretty. Want to come play?" Heat flooded Amelia's cheeks. Ethan stepped forward, his voice low. I didn't mean to intrude. Liam insisted we stop by when he saw the store. He doesn't usually take to people easily, but he hasn't stopped asking about you since last night. Amelia's chest tightened. She knelt to Liam's level, smiling despite her nerves. Well, maybe I can help you find a book. From that day on, everything changed. Amelia found herself spending more and more time with Ethan and Liam. She read bedtime stories, joined them for dinners, and discovered a side of Ethan that the world rarely saw. A man devoted to his son, patient and gentle despite the weight of his responsibilities. And as much as she tried to fight it, her feelings for him grew. But Clara wasn't blind. She noticed Amelia's absences, the way her eyes lit when her phone buzzed. And when she finally learned who Amelia had been seeing, her fury was unstoppable. You stole him from me, Clara screamed one night, her face twisted with rage. That was my chance. Amelia, do you think for 1 second he'll stay with you when he learns the truth? You're nothing but a fraud. A poor, pathetic fraud. Amelia's heart sank. She wanted to argue, to defend herself. But Clara's words cut deep because they carried a sliver of truth. Ethan didn't know. And if he found out this way, it would destroy everything. The reckoning came at a charity gala. Ethan, proud and protective, had invited Amelia as his guest. She had never felt more out of place, standing beside him in a borrowed gown, while society's elite whispered. But Ethan's hand on hers gave her courage, until Clara arrived. Clara's smile was cruel as she stepped into the spotlight. Everyone meet my little sister, she announced loudly. The one who pretended to be me on her blind date with Ethan Cole. The room fell silent. All eyes turned. Amelia froze, her blood draining to ice. She turned to Ethan, desperate. I was going to tell you. I never meant to. But his face was unreadable, his jaw tight. For the first time, he didn't reach for her. Shame burned her skin as she fled the ballroom, tears spilling down her cheeks. Clara's triumphant laughter followed her like knives in the dark. For days, Amelia hid. She couldn't bear the thought of facing Ethan or Liam, of watching their disappointment. She packed her things, convinced she had ruined everything. But Ethan was not a man who let go of the truth so easily. He showed up at her door one rainy night, his son by his side. Liam ran straight into her arms, clinging to her with tearful eyes. Don't go, Amelia. Please don't go. Ethan stood behind him, his gaze unwavering. Clara was right about one thing. You weren't the one who was supposed to be there that night. But she was wrong about everything else. You're the one I choose. The only one. Amelia's breath caught, her tears unstoppable. But I lied. You lived. Ethan interrupted gently. You cared. You gave me back hope. And you gave Liam the love he's been missing. That's not a lie. Amelia, that's the truth I'll fight for. And in that moment, as Liam hugged her tighter and Ethan's arms wrapped around them both, Amelia finally believed what she had never dared before. She wasn't a replacement. She was a choice. The beginning. The home they had been waiting for.